I'm Katherine Woodfine, and this is my new book, Peril in Paris, the first book in the Taylor and Rose Secret Agent series. Taylor and Rose is a spin-off from the Sinclair's Mysteries series, and in it we rejoin the detective heroines, Sophie and Lil, as they take on a brand new challenge of becoming Edwardian secret agents. And in this story we see them going on an adventure to Paris to undertake some very dangerous missions for the British government's mysterious Secret Service Bureau. So today I'm here in Waterstones Piccadilly in the wonderful children's department, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some books which have a really strong female friendship at their heart. And that's because in Taylor and Rose Secret Agents, the friendship between Sophie and Lil is a really important part of the story. And one of the reasons I wanted to write about that is because the friendships that we have when we're growing up and as teenagers are so important. And I thought it'd be really interesting to write about that really strong relationship you have with that one person who understands you when no one else does and who you know you can always absolutely count on for support. So I'm going to talk about a few books that I think have really wonderful female friendships in them. The first one is this one. This is Ramey Nightingale by the American author Kate DiCamillo. And this is just a really lovely, quirky story about a girl called Ramey who decides to spend her summer holidays taking baton twirling lessons. And the reason that she does this is because she really wants to win a beauty contest in order to get the attention of her father, who's recently run away with the dental hygienist. So Dad's gone and Ramey is desperate to get him back again. So in order to do this, she signs up for these baton twirling lessons to help her win the contest. But things don't quite go to plan, and when she gets to her new lessons, she finds herself instead making some kind of unlikely new friends in the other two girls who are also learning. There's Louisa, who's a very eccentric character, and then Beverly, who is very feisty and has ideas of her own about how she wants to be spending her summer. And this is just a really delightful book that anyone who grew up reading the likes of Beverly Cleary's books, the Lois Lowry Anastasia books, or books like Harriet the Spy will absolutely love and sort of be sucked back into that world at once. And Kate DiCamillo is a real master at saying a lot in a very few words. And I think if you read this book, you will understand exactly why she has won so many prizes and been such a fixture on the bestseller list. So the next book I'm going to talk about is actually a graphic novel. This is Jane, the Fox and Me by Fanny Britt, illustrated by Isabelle Arsenault. And this book actually touches on some of the more difficult and challenging sides of friendship and growing up. And it's the story of a young girl called Hélène, who at the start of the story is having quite a miserable time, which is so beautifully reflected in these very muted black and white illustrations. And Hélène is basically, she's being bullied by her classmates because of her size and because she doesn't really fit in with the other girls. But Hélène finds a sort of safe place in books, and in particular in the book Jane Eyre. And you can see here how when she's reading Jane's story, suddenly Hélène's world becomes full of new colour. So Jane provides a bit of a way out, but then things get a little bit worse when Hélène has to go off to a school camp, and she finds herself in the outcasts' cabin with the other girls who don't really have any place to belong. But an encounter with a fox begins to change things and sort of introduces a note of new positivity. I think anybody who reads this book will be able to relate to Hélène, and Isabelle Arsenault's illustrations just convey her journey so beautifully and so perfectly. So no list of books about female friendships would be complete without this. This is the first book in Holly Bourne's brilliant Spinster Club series. There's several books in the series, and each one focuses on a different girl, and together the girls form the Spinster Club, which is kind of a society that's really dedicated to feminism and talking about sexism and the injustices of the world, which are things that Holly writes about absolutely brilliantly. And in each book, the main character has different sort of issues and challenges that they have to face. In this book, for example, which is the first book in the series, focusing on Evie, Evie has some quite difficult mental health challenges that she has to try and cope with, but her friends are there to help support her through it. And Holly is absolutely beloved of teenagers because she pulls no punches. This is a no-holds-barred, very frank exploration of teenage life. There is complete openness about teen sexuality, about relationships, about mental health, and about all kinds of other issues that affect young people today. So if you have any teenagers in your life who have not yet discovered Holly Bourne, then do put this into their hands because they absolutely need this book. But also I think for adults, these books are a brilliant insight into what it means to be a young person growing up today. So the final book I want to share is another book kind of about an unlikely and unconventional friendship, and that is this one, Piglet by Clémentine Beauvais. And this is a story about three girls, Mireille, Astrid and Hakima, who are brought together when they are all voted the ugliest girls in school by their fellow pupils. But instead of letting this get them down, Mireille makes a resolution that they're going to do something positive about it. So the three girls decide to hop on their bicycles and go off on a road trip to Paris. And along the way, they hope to seek fame and fortune and friendship and have a brilliant time and sort of reclaim their title of Piglet. So this is just a really delightful story. It's very quirky, it's very, very witty and funny. And it really takes on some issues about bullying and about body image, and it's a complete breath of fresh air and a joy to read. So if you want something to read that is celebratory and joyful about female friendships and the joys of being young and being on your bike and having adventures, then I would heartily recommend this one.